You hear this name thrown around all the time in the tech world, right? AWS. It's this massive force working behind the scenes of our digital lives. You've probably heard of it, but what is it really? Well, today, we're going to pull back the curtain and demystify Amazon Web Services. So think about this for a second. That movie marathon you just had on Netflix? Or how about something a little bigger, like NASA analyzing images from deep space missions? What's the invisible engine that makes all of that possible? Yep, for both of those things and so much more, the answer is often the exact same unseen force. It's the digital foundation for a huge chunk of the internet just working silently in the background. And that force is Amazon Web Services. Okay, so what is this thing really? Let's break it down into something that actually makes sense. At its heart, AWS is a cloud computing platform. But you know the best way to think about it is like a digital utility company. See, before AWS, if you had a killer idea for a website or an app, you'd have to go out and buy physical servers. We're talking stacks of hardware, a data center, huge upfront costs. With AWS, you just rent it. You get all the computing power, all the storage you need on demand over the internet. This one idea completely changed the game. It made it possible for anyone with an idea to build it. But calling it just a utility company is kind of like calling a spaceship just a vehicle. It offers way, way more than just the basics. The sheer number of tools in its catalog is absolutely mind-boggling. I mean, we talked about computing power and storage, but seriously, that's barely scratching the surface. It feels like for pretty much any digital task you can possibly imagine, AWS has a specialized tool ready to go. So how many tools are we talking about? The actual number is, well, take a look. Over 240. Yeah, it's a lot. And honestly, just looking at that number, it can feel pretty intimidating. So, okay, how on earth are you supposed to wrap your head around all that? Do you need to be an expert in over 240 different things just to get started? Well, here's the good news. You absolutely don't. And that's the real key. You don't need to memorize the entire catalog. You just need to understand how it's all organized. The secret is just simple organization. The best analogy? Think of AWS as a gigantic hardware store, like a Home Depot for the internet. You don't walk in and memorize the location of every single nut and bolt. You just need to know that the plumbing stuff is in one aisle and the electrical supplies are in another. And these are the main aisles in that store. You've got your fundamental stuff like compute, storage, and databases. Then you get into the really cool aisles like machine learning and AI, analytics, security, you get the idea. This is our map for finding our way around. So, map in hand, let's take a quick walk down a few of the most important aisles, see what's actually sitting on the shelf. All right, first stop, compute. This really is the engine room of the cloud. It's where you get the raw processing power, that digital horsepower that makes every single application actually run. And in here, you basically have two main options. On one side, you've got Amazon EC2. Think of that as renting an entire virtual computer in the cloud. You get the keys, you're in total control. But then, you have something like AWS Lambda, which is just wild. With Lambda, you just upload your code and AWS runs it for you. You never even have to think about a server. It's what people call serverless, and it's a total game changer. Okay, so you've got your engine. Now you need a place to put all your stuff, right? Your data, your files, your website's images, everything. That brings us to our next aisle, storage. You can think of this as an infinite digital locker. And just like with the engines, there are different tools for different needs. Amazon S3 is the workhorse. It's for data you need to get to all the time, super fast. But then there's Amazon Glacier. The name is perfect, right? It's for cold storage. Think of it like a deep freeze archive, an incredibly cheap way to store data for years and years when you don't need to get it in a hurry. All right, our final stop on this quick tour, and this is where things get really futuristic. The machine learning aisle. This is essentially AI brain as a service. And here you've got choices. You can roll up your sleeves with something like Amazon SageMaker. That's for building and training your own custom AI models from the ground up. Or you can just grab a pre-built brain right off the shelf. Take Amazon Polly, for instance. You can feed it any text, and it'll turn it into a voice that is shockingly human. It's incredible stuff. Now that was just a tiny peek down 3 aisles in a store that has dozens and dozens. It's a lot of power. So with all this available, where do you go from here? What's the next step?
You know, we've really only just scratched the surface. And because this whole platform is constantly growing and changing, the best advice is to go straight to the source. The official documentation says it best. You should refer to the online product directory for a full, categorized list of all 240+ services.
So think of this explainer as getting you to the launchpad. AWS is a living, breathing platform. New services and features are added all the time. That official website is always going to be your most up-to-date guide for what's possible right now. So let's just recap. We've seen the engine room, the infinite digital locker, and the AI brain as a service. It's this massive digital toolbox that has the power to bring almost any idea you can dream of to life. So that leaves just one real question, doesn't it? With a toolbox this big, what would you build?